When my father died, I felt kind of shocked. And then afterwards, I was sad.
When my dad died, I was shocked and I was scared.
When my brother died, I felt more scared because I didn't know what was happening because my mom was screaming and stuff. And then when she told me, I felt a lot shocked, and then started crying right away because I knew him more, and he was like my best friend.
I sort of felt more scared when my brother died more than when my dad died because I was just surrounded by policemen, firefighters, and ambulances. I was just scared.
I was feeling depressed, and my life just seemed to go downhill. My grades were slipping. Nicholas and Christy, my brother and sister, were a little worried about me. And family, they didn't really know what was going on, but they could see that I was depressed, but they didn't really know what to do.
I remember that he had a cough, and they went to the doctor, and they came back and they told me that he had cancer a couple years before, and he had surgery and he had it removed, but then it revisited. I guess I felt when I kind of realized that he would probably die, it hadn't really sunk in exactly. I was like, okay, he might die. It's not out of the range of question, but it's not going to happen. I'm thinking it's not going to happen. Stuff like that wouldn't happen to me.
My dad shot my mom while she was in the bathtub, and then he shot himself like a few minutes later. He drove to his mom's house, then shot himself there. Then the police found out. I was scared and nervous because I didn't know what was happening and confused. Yeah, sometimes it keeps rewinding in my head over.
I reacted when my grandfather died shocked because it was unexpected. I thought he would die later on, but I knew he would pass away someday. I reacted sad because he was like my best friend in the whole world, meant the world to me.
My best friend, Monica, had been killed in a car accident, and I felt anger and abandonment, and I felt like it was, even though it wasn't, I felt like it was my fault. I was hospitalized for 10 days because I took 56 sleeping pills because I just couldn't do it anymore. I missed her too much. And I thought by doing that I would be with her, but it wasn't going to happen, so.
It was a shock. I got really angry. Just like stomping around or like just yell and stuff. And I felt weird because people at school, they have dads and I don't. It's stuff that had changed in my house when my daddy died.
Can you tell me about some of those changes?
One time, my mom is miserable. She has to do a lot, feed us, clean us, take care of us. She helped me with my bike, and now her stomach hurts. And our pool deflated. My cousins don't visit as much because they came to see my dad. I don't go to McDonald's or Chuck E. Cheese no more. I can't lick the spoon when he makes speech cobbler. My brother pouts a lot more. My dad won't be at my 8th birthday to see my Bratz castle cake with a chocolate fountain. And that's about it.
When she died and I went to school, it was just, I don't really remember. I just know it felt really weird. And every day she'd just pass by my classroom and say hi to me, or she'd go in and hug me. And it just felt really weird that she wasn't there to, say hi. And then all the kids, once they heard, they were like, I got really mad at them because they would tell me, I'm so sorry that I felt the same way when my fish died or when my dog died. I would just get really mad because they don't know how it is.
When she first died, I didn't really know how to handle it. It came just as a shock when my parents told me that she had died. I don't know, it just didn't sink in because everything just happened so fast. I just hear my mom screaming, "Where's the phone?" My whole family's outside. They won't let me go outside. I didn't know anything that was happening. They went to the hospital. Of course, I didn't really think anything happened. So when they came home and told me my sister died, it was a shock. It just couldn't sink in.
For the first about 3 years, I just I started to think that, I thought to myself that she wasn't dead, that she was just away for a very long time and she'd be coming back in about a few months or a year or anything. But then at about her 3rd anniversary of death, it really shot me like a hard rock, that she was not coming back. I don't know when I was gonna see her, and she was just, it was horrible.
Well, as time went on, it was just disbelief because it was my baby sister. And I was just because she was so lively, so it was just weird, being at home and not having her there and just seeing my parents so sad. I just didn't I was mad because everything just changed so abruptly, and I didn't like it at all. When she just barely died, my dad got so depressed, and I hated seeing my dad like that because he's my daddy, I have to see him strong. So my problem happened when I had to be strong for my daddy, I had to be strong for my mom, I had to be strong for my sister. I couldn't cry, I couldn't do anything, my parents couldn't see me sad, no. So that affected me a lot, and just going to school and everyone being, "Oh, I'm so," I didn't like that. I didn't want to say, "Yes, my sister died." No. They, at first, when they didn't know me, they would, act normally, and then they knew they would have to be really sensitive about me. They would have to be, I guess they thought that they had to be careful with what they asked me, and I really don't mind being asked questions about it, but of course people would be like, no, don't tell her that because she's gonna cry. No, don't tell her that because of this and that. So I didn't like that either because it's just go ahead and ask me, be blunt.
Well, my best friend, I met her when I was in 2nd grade, and once I was comfortable enough telling her that my sister died, her family treated me, like my sister said, very special. They would always be careful for what they told me or what they asked me. And one time I went with them to the mall, and her twin sisters were asking me a lot of questions about it, and I really don't mind talking to her about her. I really like talking about her. And their mom started yelling at them for asking me so many questions about how she died. And I just said, "It's okay, you don't have to worry about that." And then she got mad at me for saying that. It was I guess she thought that I didn't really care that she was dead.
What really would have been helpful to me is how I said that I couldn't cry, I had to be strong and stuff, that it's okay to feel vulnerable, and that in occasions you feel like you're the only one that this has happened to, and that's totally normal, and it's part of the whole process. And so, it's really good to talk about it and not have to be stuck in a little bubble of trying to keep everything perfect for your family and stuff, because it's normal to break down. So I really would have loved to know that.
My father passed away on Christmas Eve from melanoma, which is a advanced skin cancer. And so he died, and then after that, we had a Christmas Eve kind of pre-funeral wake party, with a couple of friends that are my family, pretty much. And in that party, my best friend's mother passed away of heart conditions. So that was kind of 2 blows. The first one I could stand, because I'd couple months leading up to it, I kind of expected it, but then that totally tore me open. I was 11 years old when my father was diagnosed with melanoma. Well, when my father died, she came in and said, he's dying, so we went in and he passed away, and we sat there, and I guess I cried a little bit, but the grief had been building up over, so it wasn't explosive. But when she got sick, and they had her on the driveway, and they took her away in the ambulance to the hospital, and we got a call, said she had passed away, everybody cried. I mean, pretty much exploded, because no one expected that at all. Not at all. Well, it's kind of funny that after all this happened, I was still a little kid, and I was still excited for, presents, hey. So that kind of took away, but after a while, it put a damper on things, Everything was really, it seemed everything else didn't matter. I still kept going in school, but everything else was just kind of... After my dad died, my mom said that we gave her a lot of support, and I think we did. And she spent a lot more time with us. And that was good. It's good to be together as a family. And things have been going good. She has a boyfriend. I like that guy. That guy's a good guy. And everything's been fine. When I first heard about it, I was very adverse to him. But I actually met him. He took us out to dinner one time. And I decided I liked the guy. I have a little brother. Little brother named Elliot. He is 10 years old now. And so back then he was 6. After my father died, I guess that we've only become closer. We have not drifted apart at all. I used to think him as a little nuisance, my little brother, but now he's a cool guy. I like hanging out with him. I mean, I would take him to the movies.
How has life changed since your dad died?
It was very bad because I was getting angry all the time. But then my aunt moved in and we've been doing a lot better. She would make up a routine so we wouldn't fight anymore and stuff.
Tell me about the routine.
When we get home, we have a snack, and then we do our homework, and then we're allowed to go play until it's 6:30, and then we have to go inside to eat dinner.
Isn't it funny how sensitive you are to everything? Most little things set you off. I know after my mom died, some girl just made a flippant remark about how she hated her mom, and I couldn't stop thinking about how she could say that in front of me, knowing that my mom had just died. You're just so sensitive to everything.
Yeah, it's like you either cry or you get mad at the drop of a hat. You get really sensitive over a lot of stuff after someone dies.
When I found out that she died when I came home from school, I felt really violent, and I wanted to break a lot of stuff. I wanted to just hurt something, but I didn't do anything really that violent. But it was real hard at first, but then as you get used to it, you'll understand more that it's okay that they died, because everybody's gonna have to die someday, because you can't live forever.
Your whole life is just turned around without any control over it. I think that's one of the worst things, because first off you have to deal with the sorrow and the suffering and go through the numbness, and then after that your life starts changes and you have to get used to this new pattern that you're going through without your loved one. I don't think anything prepares you for the guilt that you feel. Anything that you said to your parent or your brother or your sister or any fight you had just comes flooding back to you, and it's so hard to deal with because you feel so guilty, and sometimes you even think it's your fault that they died. I know I was like, well, maybe if I had done this, she would have been here today, or just little things like that.
I feel so guilty now that I never told him that I really loved him, and that I wasn't there to tell him goodbye. But, it's not really your fault.
I regret that the last time I did see him alive, I didn't tell him I love you before I left the room, because I used to always tell him I loved him, and I felt bad that I walked out of the room the last time I saw him and that I didn't say it. I think the best thing for me was that I was there with him when it happened, and I was holding his hand. And then after he died, my mom like left the room and she let me be in there with him for a couple of minutes, and I just talked to him, and I know he couldn't hear me, but you know, because he had died and everything, but I told him, you know, how much I loved him and then I'd never forget him and stuff. And I think for me that was the best thing, that I was there with him when it happened, because it kind of made my guilt go away.
After my brother died, I never really talked to anybody, and I lost trust in everybody after he died. I couldn't trust nobody no more. Before he had died, I used to trust everybody. Even like when a new person came from school, I used to trust them immediately. Now I don't trust nobody.